Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'll be filming this 2013 BMW 3 Series. However, this is not any old regular 3 Series. The current mileage on this car is around 132,000 miles, and in some circumstances this is where things start to go wrong for BMWs. So let's review it and see what we can find. First off though, the model I've got in this review is the 320D Efficient Dynamics with the 2-litre diesel 161 brake horsepower engine and a torque output of 208 pounds-foot. Rather astonishingly high torque figure in comparison to the rest of the engine, which leads me into the direction to believe BMW were building this car in terms of it being the ultimate motorway cruiser. And you know what? It's an amazing wafter. Even driving up here through some tight, twisty B roads to do this review, I was still getting around 48 mpg. It just seems like this car doesn't want to use up fuel. Nevertheless, I will be testing it out on the motorway later on in this video, so stay tuned for that. And now we move on to the front of the car, possibly the most controversial part of any BMW. And I think this F30 generation BMW is probably the last of the best front bumper slash front grille designs, because the new M3 that's just come out, the G80 generation, looks absolutely horrendous. I've bashed enough about that car on my Instagram, and I'll just leave it on that note. So what about the overall design of the car and not just the front grills? And would you believe this car's been out for 7 years? I'll be honest with you, it doesn't really show its age. Obviously it's not the most exciting car to look at, but you know, everything works, everything's solid, and everything's expensive, which can be a pro and a con at the same time. Moving on to the interior then, and first off, the seating position. You get really low in this seat, and for me that's an amazing thing because it adds that whole sporty feel. The seats itself, nothing really shouty or out there like a Type R. I've got plenty of bolstering around here, and my legs are free to move around. However, at down point, the pedals are slightly placed off center to the right, which is the same in the 1 Series, and I absolutely hated that. Nevertheless, the build quality in these BMWs are absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, this car's done 132,000 miles, and it's kind of spotless in here. Although you can argue the interior is kind of getting dated, but don't forget, BMW only stopped doing this interior 2 years ago, so it's practically only a 2-year-old interior. And check this out, a manual gearbox. So we all love a manual gearbox. A little interesting thing about the BMW 3 Series, and that is the fact you have to pull the hood latch twice to release it, and it says it on the little latch that it has down there below. If you know your cars, Toyota claimed this was a safety feature in their Toyota Supra, but it's not. It's a BMW feature, so, and it's staying that way. As for the rear seats, well, there's plenty of space in here, especially for you and the person sitting next to you. However, if there was a person sitting in the middle, I can imagine they will struggle because of the massive transmission tunnel here and the limited headspace. But that's it, nothing else interesting back here, so let's go for a drive. So first off, the gear shift throws, they feel very, very familiar, possibly because I've driven a 116D, but I just like the fact that the gearbox just works in conjunction with the engine, and it works perfectly. As for general acceleration, well, it's got some serious grunt to it. Obviously it's not acting like a petrol car and the power increases throughout the rev range, but you know, through between 2,000 and 3,000 RPM, you get that general push, that torque comes in, and it does pick up pace quite quick. I've also got to say the dials in the BMWs are pretty superb, except when it comes to night time and they come up they are lit up orange, and I just don't like that colour. If it was white, it would be perfect. As for general wear and tear, this car's done 132,000 miles, let's not forget. And for interior wear and tear, there's barely none. Obviously, exterior wise, the paint is kind of getting old now, so you might get some imperfections, but as a general car, at the mileage it's actually fine. Furthermore, onto the wear and tear, even the buttons, they're still intact and they haven't worn off or whatnot. In fact, nothing's worn off, which is a surprise. There's no scratches on the aluminium. I'm guessing the owner of this car has really kept it well. In the 320D, you also get I don't know if you get adaptive dampers, because you get 3 options. Let me pull out of this junction first. Sorry, roundabout even. Pull out into the roundabout. Can't speak. You get 3 options. So you get Eco Pro, Comfort, and Sport. Not too sure what you would do in sport mode in a diesel, but you've got it anyway. When you do put it into sport, you get a display, which is so cool. I love that. I love the BMWs have a little sports display, and on that display you get power and torque output, which is awesome. So we're currently stuck in traffic right now, classic British roads. One thing I've noticed whilst idling is the rattle coming from the engine, which is normal. That's not a defect, but it's just quite, what's the word? Might be annoying at times, might get on your nerves. So let's take this car on the motorway and let's see how it gets on, because at the end of the day, this is where it belongs, the Autobahn or the M6 or the M62 or whatever. Instantly I could tell the comfort it has a large amount of comfort, to be fair. It's wow, it's comfier than I thought. I'm so surprised. It is a cruiser as well, honestly. It's a waft to this. Yeah, so this car can really pick up. Obviously, even when I'm around the 70 miles per hour mark, it feels like it still wants to go. So it is a very fast car, and it's got the classic BMW indicators, where I literally got so confused when I got into this car and turned my left signal on, and it didn't go down like a normal signal would. That's probably why no BMW drivers indicate, because they don't want to bother with the hassle. I'm still very surprised BMW used this interior layout for so long. I'm surprised they didn't lose their customers. Even in 2018, they were still using this interior, which is quite shocking. I think the only updates it had was the steering wheel, and that steering wheel, the updated steering wheel, was amazing. So that's the review and my opinions on the 2013 BMW 320D. In conclusion, to get the spec you want on this car, you're gonna have to spend the extra cash. When this car was first new, even the fold down rear seats weren't standard. However, that doesn't come into factor after all that depreciation when you're buying second hand. So that means you could actually pick up a decent car. So in true 5th gear tradition, I give this car a 6.5 out of 10. But if you do want to see the BMW 116D review that I did, which is a very similar car to this is just pretty much longer, make sure you click on that top right hand banner. I don't know which one it is. Yeah, just go watch it.